Celebrating 10 years of trailblazing in ground support, Exceed marks a decade as your leading partner in ground support equipment leasing. At the forefront of both short-term and long-term leasing solutions, Exceed adapts to your unique operational needs. Whether you're ramping up for peak season or planning for long-term growth, we provide the right equipment to keep your operations running smoothly. This anniversary, we renew our dedication to empowering your ground operations with efficiency and innovation. With Exceed, you're equipped for success today and prepared for the challenges of tomorrow. Exceed, driving excellence on the ground year after year. Explore more at exceedgse.com.
This is Brad Compton.
This is Luke Brown.
This is Jeff Barrett.
This is Tessa Fasen, and you are listening to the GSE Podcast.
All right. Well, welcome to the GSE Podcast. I'm Matt Weitzel, and I'm here with Richard Reno from TractEasy. How you doing, Richard?
I'm doing great today, Matt. Thanks for having me.
No problem. We're here at Modex in Atlanta. So what is this trade show about?
So Modex is a trade show for basically automation of industrial processes. So it is filled with suppliers that provide automation equipment, automation services, consulting, system integration. So just about anything that you need to improve your production process, your logistics process, you can find it here at Modex.
Wow, that's fantastic. Yeah, it's a really cool show. As I was walking through here to meet you today, tons of robotics, tons of automation like you were talking about. You can find it all here. It's a pretty, I usually am at the ground support equipment shows. We don't have this kind of technology.
Yeah, it's a great point. I mean, a lot of what you see here is applicable in the ground support industry as well. I mean, some of the automation, there's a robot right across from us here across the aisle that can move boxes from a container to a belt to load it onto a truck. I mean, that could easily be adapted to take baggage off of an aircraft and load it onto a cart to go into the handling facility or vice versa. I mean, so a lot of this stuff is targeted for a specific industrial application, but it could easily be adapted for the airport operation.
Now, are we seeing some of that in ground support equipment or at the airport, inside the airport environment?
I haven't seen it yet. I've seen, companies talking about it or doing some demonstrations in a controlled setting, but one of the things that is different between an airport space and the robot I'm looking at right across from here is a box is a box. But baggage, as you know, can be just about anything. It can be a box. It can be a small bag. It can be a large bag. It can be a ski tote. So, I mean, there's some variability on the airport space that makes it hard to automate. But I think those are things that technology is finding a way to overcome. And eventually we will see all of these things on the airport as well.
Yeah, I agree. I was walking through here and I was like, this stuff has to be applicable to what we're doing at the airport. So I think we will end up seeing a lot of it come to us. And it'll be interesting over the next few years to see if we go to these GSE trade shows and all of a sudden we're seeing a lot of automated things coming along like autonomous vehicles. So how did you get into the industry first?
So I was formerly the CEO for TLD Americas, so responsible for the production facilities in North America as well as sales and service, Latin America, Australia, and Japan, to be specific. And one of the products that we were trying to push the customers here in North America was the TractEasy, as it was called at the time, which is an autonomous tow tractor. It's basically a Jet 16, which is a baggage tractor with an autonomous kit, bolted to it. And with that, it's a self-driving vehicle. And we were pushing that to customers in the US. So I was involved in those discussions, as they were, my customers. And I really got interested in the technology. I could see what it was capable of doing. I could see the application in the future. And TLD has been working with their partner EasyMile for the last 7 years. And the technology is really to the point where we're ready to scale. And the U.S. is a big market. I was involved in a lot of the deals. So when we looked to create this new joint venture, which is TractEasy, what I'm leading today, they asked me if I would be interested in leading it. And of course, the opportunity to take something from the ground up, and especially in this exciting space, I couldn't say no.
Yeah. So you're the CEO of TractEasy. TractEasy is owned by TLD.
So TractEasy is a joint venture. It's
Okay.
51% TLD, 49% Easy Mile.
Okay.
And it was just recently formed legally. It's a US based company, even though both parents are French, but it's a US based company. And we have an office in Denver. We have an office in Berlin. We have an office in Singapore. So we're starting out with a global footprint, and we're really here to scale the operation.
So is Easy Mile the on-road solution then?
So Easy Mile has been in the autonomous space since 2014, and they started with a shuttle. So basically a small bus that moves passengers, and it was envisioned to be on private roads as well as public roads, and it is operating that way today. But that space is challenging. Autonomous vehicles on the highway is something that is heavily regulated. It's something that a lot of people are concerned about. So Easy Mile has the shuttle project, but they also had the partnership with TLD, which is the industrial space. And the industrial space is ready today. The application is more readily controlled. You're going 15 kilometers an hour versus 50 miles per hour on the highway. You have less interaction with the public and heavy traffic situations. So the industrial space is more ready today. So Easy Mile is still in the on-highway application with shuttles, but the Easy Tow that we are selling through TractEasy is ready today. So it's where the autonomous vehicles are taking off.
Okay. And is the Jet 16 just the start? Are we going to start applying this to cargo loaders and all kinds of different TLD equipment?
It's a great question. So TLD has been in the, let's say, autonomous application, or at least assisted driving application, for quite some time. They have the aircraft safe docking that's available on a belt loader. And that started with just helping the driver control speed as it approaches the aircraft. And today it can actually stop the belt loader within a specified distance for a variety of aircraft. So the driver just pulls forward and it stops it every time. Cargo loaders, TLD has a solution that started with having targets on the side of the aircraft for the loader to recognize the aircraft and plot a trajectory to
I remember that, the yellow and black.
You got it. Yep. And now it works without targets. So they're able to detect the door and, drive.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize that technology.
So that is a new evolution, and they're selling that today. So it's not quite autonomous because you still need the operator on the loader to move the cargo in and out of the aircraft. Mm-hmm. So the operator is there, but the driving is done autonomously.
Okay. So kind of explain to me how the technology on the Jet 16 works. How does that, do you plot out the airport and then is it cameras or is it sensors or is it all of the above? Kind of walk me through how the technology works.
Great question. So the Jet 16, as you probably know, is an electric baggage tractor. So yes. The base is an electric tractor. It has TLD's proprietary battery system, a 1-pack or a 2-pack. So to have the maximum amount of autonomy in the vehicle, we use a 2-pack. So a 2-pack battery system will enable the vehicle to drive all day long. And it's the same vehicle that a driver can drive, except we're able to take the driver out. And we do that by equipping the vehicle with sensors and extra computing power to be able to process the signals that the sensors are giving it. So it is a level 4 vehicle. So it's not level 5 where you can say, take me from Atlanta to California and it'll just find a way, even though it's never been there. It needs a pre-programmed route. So level 4. So we work with a customer, whether that's an airport or an industrial site. We go and we investigate the conditions. What are the roads like? What is the signal strength? Because we use 4G, we use GPS. So we got to make sure that the conditions are right to get those signals. But so the vehicle is equipped with GPS. It's equipped with LiDARs. It's equipped with a camera. And we also use the odometry of the wheels. So we look at the speed of the motor and we know how the direction the wheels are going. And we have an IMU, which is basically an inertial, moment unit, I guess you would say. And all those things together come into what we call a fusion algorithm. So it looks at all of those different signals because at any one point in time, one may be stronger or weaker depending on the conditions. And as long as there's enough of a high enough strength in one of those signals, it can keep going. So it needs to know where it is. It needs to be on a pre-programmed route. But once the routes are programmed, an operator or even a system can dispatch the vehicle from one stop to the next stop. It can stop it halfway in the route, restart it, send it to a different location. But once the routes are programmed, it can operate within those routes all day long.
So if something unexpected happens, is it using artificial intelligence to say, hey, I need to be able to dodge that? Or is it just stopping? How does that part work, I guess?
So there are some things in the vehicle that are trained, right? Like, for example, indoors, sometimes we use the camera versus the LiDAR. The LiDARs are basically a laser that we use to map the environment. But indoors, a lot of times the environment can change. If you're in an industrial facility, one day there's a box on the floor here. The next day there's 2 boxes or no boxes.
Yeah.
So the environment can change. So sometimes we use visual localization. So maybe some paint on the floor or something like that. So those, specifically with the VGBL, the model needs to be trained. It needs to know what the markings are. It needs to know where they are and correlate that to the rest of the map. So there is and for certain conditions with the LiDARs, we have filters that can, sort out a snowflake from an obstacle. So there's some level of training in the model so it knows what it's seeing. Is that artificial intelligence, or is that just pre-programming in the system? I guess some would call it artificial intelligence.
Okay. And then where is this being used right now?
So today we're active in Singapore, we're active in Japan, Germany, France, Romania, and here in the US.
Wow. Okay. And then is it industrial, or is it at the airport, or is it a mix of both?
So it's a mix.
Okay.
Today we're not in the US right now, but in Europe and in Asia, we're active at airports. And most of our applications are in the industrial space.
Okay. And then walk me through how, let's say I'm an airline and I want to at least go ahead and start testing your autonomous solution at, let's say, Hartsfield-Jackson Airport.
Okay.
How does that work? Like, where do we start with that?
So you got to have a customer that's forward thinking and willing to put in the change management that's necessary for an automated process, right? Mm-hmm. People think that robots can do anything a human can do. And the reality is that's very, very challenging. So the best application for automation is something that's repeatable, right? So you have to have an application that is repetitive so that you can automate it. So we have to find a flow on an airport that's capable of being automated. And when we have that, we have to make sure that the conditions are such that, it can be controlled, right? If people park on the roadway, that's a problem. If the roadway is cluttered with vehicles or trailers or other obstacles, that's a problem for an autonomous vehicle. So step one would be find a customer that's willing to make the changes necessary to automate. And let's try to find an economical process.
So at that point, would you come in and consult with them after looking at their operation and saying, this is a process that we think we can automate?
Absolutely.
Is that how that would work?
Absolutely. I mean, I've been doing this for about a year now.
Okay.
And what I hear a lot of times is customers want to automate the most complicated problem that they have.
Right?
Oh, I want my robot to, do this, solve world hunger or solve whatever.
Yeah.
And those tend to be a waste of a lot of people's time. So I try to encourage our customers to start simple. Let's find a simple flow that we can automate. And with that, we'll build upon the success. But let's first get something that we can prove to you that the technology works. You can understand what it takes to have an automated process. And from there, we can grow. Really the first step is finding something that is achievable in a relatively short time frame.
Okay. And then you're at level 4,
yes.
You said. So can you kind of explain the levels? Like what is level 5? And then is level 5 something that you're looking to go to in the near future? Or is that like way future state? We're talking years.
Yeah. So level 5 is, you tell the vehicle you want to go from where you are to someplace that you want to be that you've never been. Okay. And the vehicle has to find its own way to get there.
Yeah.
Right. So it doesn't know necessarily any obstacles on the road, intersections, whatever. It has to glean that from some map, Google Maps or Waze or something like that, and it has to plot its own course. So I'm sure the technology will get there eventually. But today, we're not focused on that. We know level 4 is what we can do, what the technology can do. And more importantly than anything, it can be done safely, right? And for us, safety is behind everything we do. We have a CE certified autonomous vehicle, which we think is unique in the industry.
That's fantastic.
And we want to make sure that, it's our name. So safety is the number one goal for us, right? If you think about it, a lot of customers just want performance. And ultimately, safety and performance is a trade-off, right? The safest vehicle sits in the parking spot and never leaves, right? But that doesn't do anything for anybody. So we got to find a way to get maximum performance and maximum safety. And that's what we try to do on every application.
Yeah.
And we start safe and, make sure we have all the precautions built into the vehicle, slowing down for crosswalks, things like that. Over time, we figure out how the environment is working and see what we can do to improve the performance while keeping the maximum state of safety.
So can you explain a process that's currently being used at an airport, just so so the listeners can understand like what you're already seeing maybe in Europe or in Asia that you've set up, because you said it needs to be a simple process that's very stable. It's the exact same thing almost every single time. Can you explain what that might be, like one that you've seen in operation?
Sure. So we have moved cargo.
Okay.
So cargo not from, let's say, the loader to the indoor sort facility, but from a staging area, right? Typically, the docking to the cargo loader or the belt loader is the last mile is done by a person. So we will stage the vehicle waiting for the aircraft to arrive. When the aircraft arrives, somebody drives it to the belt loader, drives it to the cargo loader, moves the cargo onto a dolly behind the easy tow and sends it on its way, picks a station inside the building, outside the building, wherever the cargo is going to be unloaded, sends it there for the unload, and then sends it back. So basically map. So we have moved cargo, we've moved baggage, but basically it works that way. So a vehicle is staged waiting for the aircraft to arrive, or staged waiting for the aircraft to be ready to be loaded if it's an outgoing flight. And once it is loaded or unloaded, it's sent to the terminal by an individual, where it gets loaded or unloaded and sent back.
Okay. And then, all right, this may be a dumb question, but I'm going to ask it. So I understand that like outside, you can use GPS to kind of outline where that vehicle is going. But inside, do you have to put stuff inside so that way it knows where it's at? Or because I imagine you can't use GPS underground or whatever.
Right. So the vehicle works, it localizes based on a variety of signals. So GPS is one, but the LiDARs also create a map, right?
Oh, okay.
So as we're preparing a route for being automated, we map the entire route. So we drive the vehicle in manual mode. The sensors are collecting all of the data that they need to create a map. So we basically create a digital twin of the environment, and that consists of anything the LiDAR can see. So indoors, you're right, we don't have strong GPS signals, but a lot of cases the LiDARs are sufficient to find a column in a building or a doorway or some other marking to let the vehicle know where it is. And if that's not sufficient for localization because everything looks the same, or it varies based on things on the ground, that's when we go to visual.
Okay.
So using the camera for some markings on the ground or something like that.
But a lot of times there's no additional infrastructure needs to be put in place indoors.
Yeah. I mean, that's the beauty of our technology. If you walk around the show here, you'll see a lot of AGVs that are based on magnet strips in the ground, right?
Okay.
So you have to plot the course with a magnet or a 3D barcode or something like that. And the beauty of our technology is in most cases, you don't need any infrastructure changes.
Wow, that's fantastic. That's pretty cool. I mean, the technology sounds like it's pretty well developed. And I mean, how long has this been? I guess how long have you all had these out in the field?
Yeah, so the partnership Easy Mile has been doing this and starting shuttles since 2014. And 2017 they created the partnership with TLD. So that's when the TractEasy at that point now Easy Tow was born. And late 2022, we came out with the second generation of the technology. So basically, up until that point, it was taking a Jet 16 and bolting all the extra equipment to it. And the Gen 2 version that came out at the end of 2022 was a fully industrialized product. So made from the ground up to be autonomous. So the new wiring harness, all of the computers and sensors were installed in the factory in a controlled environment. So that's when we really had a industrialized, production-ready autonomous vehicle. And honestly, that's when the technology really took off. We stopped having a prototype. We had a real vehicle. Since then, we've deployed it. We have 15 sites around the world where the vehicles are operating today. And they do, whether it's an airport or an industrial site, on one site, we have the vehicle operating 3 shifts a day. And
Wow.
it's the customer had a preference for lead acid batteries versus the lithium ion that we have as our standard. And they will actually change the battery between shifts rather than opportunity charge. But all of our other applications are lithium ion, and we do opportunity charging throughout the day. So whether it's 2 shift or 3 shift or 1 shift, we're able to operate all day with just minimal charging. So today we have it operating in cold weather climates. We have it operating in hot weather climates. Each come with their own challenge. The tarmac can get quite challenging on a hot day in the Middle East.
Yeah, I bet.
And it can be quite challenging on an industrial site in northern Illinois in the winter. But the technology has limitations. Heavy snow is a problem still, heavy fog, heavy rain. But we are able to automate flows to a level that customers are confident in the technology and can use it and still save money. Yep. And we're working on improvements to the technology. We have a new software and hardware version that we're going to deploy in the fall here that we think is going to allow the vehicle to operate in almost any heavy weather condition.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And that will be a game changer.
Yeah,
Today,
for sure.
There are conditions in snow and fog that stop all autonomous vehicles because it's limitation of the technology. But there's technology that exists, and we're working on testing that out on our vehicle and hopefully have it available in the fourth quarter.
Okay, cool. So talk to me about notifications. So I imagine there's a situation where it stops, right? It thinks there's something in its path, or there is something in its path. How do I get notified if I'm over that operation?
Great question. And we have an application that runs basically on a tablet that you can, as a operator of an autonomous vehicle, you can see where the vehicle is at any point in time. See if it's operating in auto, if it's operating in manual, where it is on the trajectory. Is it, sitting at a charger? Is it on a mission? And if it does stop, you will be notified through that app. You can also get a SMS signal, sent to your phone. Depending on the situation, some customers enable the cameras to work and some customers do not for data privacy reasons. But if you're a customer that enables the camera to be activated, you can log into the application, look through the camera, see if there's something in the way. Maybe, somebody parked where they shouldn't park, or maybe there's an obstacle in the road. So you're notified electronically, and then you have a certain level of diagnostic capability that you can do through the app. Most of the time, the vehicle will rearm itself. If it's a temporary obstacle, somebody walks in front of the vehicle or some condition exists that the vehicle has to stop, it will rearm itself and continue on its way. But if it's a vehicle parked in the road, the unit is going to stop and wait for somebody to take action.
Okay. And so I imagine you have a 360 view with your cameras, correct? So if I'm somewhere where I can't get to that, can I override if I see that there's not an obstacle?
It depends on the situation.
Okay.
The camera that we have is not 360. The vehicle only drives forward in autonomous mode. So all of our sensors are forward sensing, or forward facing, if you will. So the camera, if you log in, is facing forward. It depends on the situation if the vehicle can be sent back on its mission or not.
Okay. Got it. And then talk to me about cybersecurity. I imagine this comes up when you're talking to your customers and stuff like that. So how do you make your customers feel secure about these autonomous vehicles driving around their airport in front of their people, all that kind of stuff with cameras and everything?
It's a great question. So one of the fundamental comfort factors is that the vehicle can't go where it's not allowed to go, right? So somebody can't log into it and send it on a mission that it's not pre-programmed to do, right? So it can only be on the routes that it's programmed for. But the levels of security that we have to prevent those things are significant, right? It's part of our certification process. And we've dealt with a lot of big customers, and we haven't had one that we weren't able to convince them of the level of security that we can provide.
Oh, that's great. Okay. Yeah. Let's talk about the future. So you said in the fall, you're going to introduce a new software that's going to basically allow your unit to be able to drive in heavy fog and snow and rain and things like that. What other advancements do you see coming? Where do you see this technology going in the future as far as going to other vehicles or expanding drastically into the space and in the US and things like that?
Yeah, great question. I believe weather is the biggest obstacle that we have to overcome. If you're going to put an autonomous vehicle into operation and the benefit is taking people out of that operation, once they're gone, right? So if you can't operate in any condition, it's hard to achieve the savings that they're supposed to provide. So being able to operate in, that whatever Mother Nature can throw at you is a big obstacle. So overcoming that, like we plan to do here later this year, is a huge step forward in the technology. Beyond that, it's just continuing to learn, right? We've learned so much with the operating sites that we have. Every site presents its own unique challenges, whether those be traffic patterns, whether those be driving between two buildings that are very tall and metallic and create a certain signature that our sensors have never seen. So the more we deploy, the more we learn. And building that learning back into the technology just allows it to be able to be deployed faster the next time and, with better reliability. So just continuing to adapt and teach the technology to operate in different environments, I think is a big step. But also features that enable, the customers to achieve the return on investment. We just added a new feature this year, which is automated hook and unhook. So we don't have to just stay connected to the same trailer all day long. We can unhook a trailer autonomously, and we can back up and hook to a trailer autonomously. So you can stop, drop off a trailer, have that trailer loaded while you go on another mission, pick up another trailer and go do something, and then come back when that trailer is ready. So just different enhancements to the technology to enable the customers to have high utilization of the vehicle, because utilization of an autonomous vehicle is what generates the return.
Yeah.
And it's one of the challenges, quite honestly, on the airport side. If you look out the window of an airport, you see a lot of baggage tractors in use, and a lot of baggage tractors not in use. So we have an autonomous vehicle operating 3 shifts a day, and that vehicle sees 3 to 4 times the amount of use that our vehicles see on an airport site.
Wow.
So the higher utilization obviously means higher returns. So finding a way to have a vehicle highly utilized on an airport is one of the keys to unlocking the benefits that customers seek to deploy autonomous vehicles.
Yeah.
So the more things that we can do, the more features that we can add to make it easier for customers to use the vehicle, those will be the things that really take the technology forward.
So are you able to retrofit? So if I have a fleet of Jet 16s and I want to put a couple of the TractEasy autonomous solution on that, can you do that, or do I have to order a brand new Jet 16?
It's a great question. There are solutions out there that are retrofittable, but ours is not one.
Okay.
There's a fundamental difference between the architecture of an Easy Tow and the architecture of a Jet 16. Or any other baggage tractor for that matter.
Okay.
If you're driving a baggage tractor today and it fails for some reason, the engine stops, it will coast to a stop. For our autonomous vehicle, as soon as there is a problem, the vehicle will stop. So it is a fail-safe braking system on the vehicle. So if you lose localization, if you lose any detection of an obstacle, the vehicle fails to a stop. And that is the opposite of the base baggage tractor. And that change is difficult to do from a retrofit. It can be done, but by the time you make those changes, you might as well start from
get a new baggage tractor,
get a new one. Exactly.
and put your system on it.
And again, the retrofit solution, they can be done, but our Easy Tow is made with a fully assembled wiring harness from a supplier, just like a new vehicle. So there's no individual wires that are at risk of termination challenges or installation problems. So it is built an industrial process that gives you the highest possible reliability right out of the box. And if you're having the investment in an autonomous vehicle, and if it's going to generate the returns that customers need, it needs to be reliable. And we think that has to be a ground up process.
Yeah. Where is this unit being manufactured at?
So today, the EasyTow is being built in the same facility that the Jet 16 is made in France.
Okay.
Now, the Jet 16 is what TLD calls a Ranger product. It's made in several different factories. But today, the EasyTow is built just in our St. Lin factory in France.
Yeah, I was able to go visit 2 TLD factories last year. So you all have a great operation. I have not been to any of the ones in France, however. So need to go over there.
So TLD just had its 70th birthday last year.
That's impressive.
So, it is, it has mastered the art of making, reliable ground support equipment, which is the best foundation for, autonomous vehicle. You got a whole bunch of technology you're adding to it. So you want to make sure you add it to the right piece of equipment. And the Jet 16 is a widely used, one of TLD's most widely used vehicles. So it's very industrial already. So we're, building out a very reliable, stable platform.
I agree. A lot of people have the Jet 16s in their fleet, and they're people really seem to like the electric vehicle that TLD produces. So, but I never asked you. So, how did you get into the industry?
How did I get in
the GSE industry?
In the GSE industry.
Everybody's got a pretty good story about how they got into it.
It's a funny story. So prior to TLD, I worked my whole life for General Electric.
Oh,
in
okay.
that power generation space. Traditional power generation, so gas turbine, combined cycle power plants, but also wind, hydro, and solar. And in my last role for GE, I was living in France in an acquisition that GE had made over there. And I got to know a guy by the name of Irwan Jalil. And, we became friends and, good colleagues. And Irwan left GE before I did, and he joined TLD. He was on an expat assignment in the U.S., and his kids went to the same school as Valentin, if you know Valentin from TLD. So they got to know each other through their kids at school, because Valentin was in the U.S. on an expat assignment. And when Irwan decided it was time to leave GE, Valentin encouraged him to join TLD.
Okay.
So, and then Irwan heard I had left GE, and he called me and said, "You got to come talk to the TLD guys."
Yeah.
So I went to Windsor, and I met with Valentin and Mark and the team, and just decided it was the right next step for me. It was an interesting role at that point, just running the factories for TLD in North America. So not something I had done before, but something I was comfortable with. And just, for me, after, working for 25 years, the most important thing that I learned is I had to work with people that I liked and respected. And through my different discussions with the TLD team, I came to appreciate that was a group of people that I could enjoy working with.
Yeah. And
so
are you responsible for Jeff Barrett?
It's a tough question.
Hire?
It's a tough question. One of the main reasons I took this job was so I would no longer be responsible for Jeff Barrett. Just kidding. No.
He's a friend of the pod. He's going to listen to
Jeff
this.
is a great guy. I really enjoyed working with Jeff.
Yeah.
When I was the CEO for TLD North America. And he's got a big job. North America is the largest market for TLD. And, Jeff took that position to the next level. I mean, they've always had great leaders in TLD in that position. And Jeff came in and really took it to the next level. He built a very strong team and strengthened the relationships that were already there with our customers, but just took those to the next level. And TLD is doing well under Jeff's guidance in North America.
I would agree. He's a great guy. So yeah, he was on the podcast a couple episodes ago, and we had a great time doing it. And I went up to Connecticut and then Windsor and recorded that one. So it was really good. But all right, well, what else haven't we covered? What haven't I asked you about?
So we're sitting here at Modex in our booth, and behind me we've got our display of our sites across the world. And if you notice, there's a lot more dots on the Europe map than there are in the US map.
Yes.
And, I've been told by some of my French colleagues that I'm the most American person they've ever met. So when I see those dots in Europe and not so many in the US, it pains me, right? We are the largest economy in the world, a heavily industrialized country. And when I see how much faster the technology is being adopted in other places of the world, it pains me. And I come to this show here at Modix, and there are robots doing everything. There's robots unloading trucks. There's robots, moving things across. There's a robot that you can ask to get you a snack, and it will turn around, go to the shelf, and pick out the snack that you asked for, and then it will bring it to you and thank you for asking.
I'm going to need one of those.
Yeah, it is. It's fantastic. So what technology can do today is amazing. So when you walk around the show, my first time at the show, I was surprised at how few American vendors are here. So the automation space in the world is not dominated by the US. And the adoption of the technology, as my map example, is also not dominated by the US. And I just wonder why.
Yeah.
It's not scary. It's not, it saves time. It saves money. It creates efficiency. It's safer. And why customers in the US are slow to adopt this technology is something I struggle with. And we just had a press release yesterday with a new customer here in North America, John Deere, and they are embracing the technology. They have one vehicle in operation, and we had dinner with them last night. They're very happy with the technology, and they are looking at all of their locations for how to apply it. And then, as these industrial facilities, the amount of change that they go through on the automotive side, on the industrial equipment side, as they change their product lines or go from internal combustion engine driven vehicles to electric driven vehicles, it creates all of these changes in their production line. And a company like John Deere is now thinking, as they're going through those changes, how can they apply an easy toe to the process to save money? And it doesn't work every time, but they're thinking about it as they design new processes. And we have other customers in Europe that are doing the same thing. Everybody wants to try it, make sure they get comfortable with the technology. But once they do, they just look for applications to deploy it because they know it's going to save them money. It's going to create all of the benefits that I mentioned before: safety, efficiency, less dependence on hiring in an environment that's increasingly challenged. And driving a vehicle, we all like to go for our Sunday drive. And if you're driving an industrial vehicle or on an airport on a nice sunny day, maybe it's not so bad. But that's not the job. The job is to drive it on a sunny day. The job is to drive it on a rainy day, on a cold day, on a hot day. And it's getting harder and harder to find people that want to do that job.
That's for sure.
So this just helps solve that problem. And there's other things for those people to do. I mean, unemployment is very low. There's a shortage of labor. So this isn't something that is scary. It's not something that, should be feared. It's something that should be embraced because it solves a lot of problems for our customers.
Yeah. And it seems like the industrial sector has taken this on a lot, just in general, as far as anything autonomous, the robots and this technology. It seems like they're embracing it much more than aviation is. And aviation needs to maybe get on board a little bit more with the automation.
No, I agree. And I think, again, if you walk around the show, they call them turtles, these small AGVs that move packages or parts. Industrial facilities have been using those AGVs indoor for decades. So they're very comfortable with the process of autonomous vehicles, and just the opportunity to go outside, which they can now do with our vehicle, is just the next phase of the journey. But on the airport space, they haven't had the benefit of using those AGVs. So it's all new on the airport space, right? So how to embrace the technology, the change management process that you have to go through. The industrial side has been doing that for decades. Again, outdoor is a little bit more challenging. There's more variables, but they understand the process, and they have seen the benefit that they can get on the indoor AGVs. So they're confident they can achieve it on the outside as well. Like I said, on the airport, that's all new learning. It doesn't mean that it can't be done. It just means it's different. It's, a different approach to change management and things that it's hard to comprehend. I mean, if you look out the window of an airplane or out the window of an airport, there's a lot going on out there.
Yeah.
And a lot of it is variable. Planes are late and planes are early. Baggage has to be transported from the terminal to the plane, from plane to plane. So there's a lot of variables out there. The challenge is convincing customers that we don't have to solve all of them today. We have to find one and start there and get comfortable with that one and build on it. Eventually, we will be able to solve all of them. But if you think of the pace at which you could, how many baggage tractors are out there today? And how quickly could you convert all of those to autonomous vehicles anyway, right? It's a journey. So let's start with the simple tasks, get you comfortable with it, prove that there's a benefit here, and build on it.
Yeah. Are you seeing some people embracing it in the US, even if you can't talk about it? I mean, can we say that there's folks out there trying this technology?
Absolutely. You can't not be aware of what's happening in the world. I mean, there are Tesla, self-driving cars.
Yeah.
It exists. There's autonomous taxis. The technology exists. You can love it or hate it, but you can't ignore that it's out there.
That's true.
It's not hard to comprehend that doing it in an industrial space or an airport space that's much more controlled than an open highway is easier.
Very much more controlled
than over the road. So it's not hard to come to the conclusion that it's going to happen here first and that it is happening. It's just maybe hard to take that first step.
Yeah.
And do it yourself.
Well, this has been massively informative and I really appreciate your time. Is there anything else you'd like to cover?
Not that I can think of.
Yeah.
Matt. I think I really appreciate you taking the time. I mean, I think your podcast has a wide audience and I hope some of the things we talked here today, resonate with some of them and there's other people that do this. I mean, it's not just TractEasy and the Easy Tow. I mean, I'd love customers to come to us, but
yeah, for sure.
I mean, I think embracing the technology is good for the industry. So, I mean, I encourage people to give it a shot. We have customers in the US and customers in Europe that are proud to show the unit in operation to people. And it is a space that I think it's really seeing is believing. Listening to you and I talk about it or watching a video or looking at a sales presentation is one thing. But when you see the vehicle in operation, the light bulb goes off. You can't deny the capability when you see it. So for me, what I say is seeing is believing. And any customer that's interested in seeing it, we can probably get them in front of a customer that's using the technology. It's proud to show them how to do it. And when they see it, the light bulb will go off.
I like it. All right. So contact Richard Reno at TractEasy and check out the demo.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Thank you for the time.
Hey, thank you so much, Richard. I appreciate it. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of the GSE Podcast. We hope you found it informative and engaging. If this episode resonated with you, please share it with your colleagues and peers in the ground support equipment community. Your support is invaluable to us. We'd appreciate it if you could take a moment to rate and review our podcast. Your feedback not only encourages us, but also helps expand our reach within the GSE community. Keep an eye out for more episodes as we continue to explore the dynamic world of ground operations, bringing you the latest trends, insights, and stories from the industry. Thank you for listening to the GSE Podcast. Until we meet again, stay grounded and keep pushing forward.